I'm here to teach you guys how to hang five. Serious business. Hello, Forward Gang 801. Skirt Reynolds, back again for more punishment. A beautiful day here in the 801. So the stunning 95 degrees. We are going to talk about getting into it, getting out of it, maintaining it, holding it at all costs. In terms of difficulty, probably intermediate to advanced, because it's such a big bike that finding those balance points can be a little bit more challenging than it might be on a BMX bike.
Quick note, this video is geared towards fixed gear, but if you're someone who's trying to learn this trick on a bike that's bigger than a traditional 20-inch BMX, I think there's some helpful takeaways. Whether you're on a 26-inch or 29, Chase breaks down a couple of the key differences, has some helpful tips. Stick around.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably rate it a 7.5 up, because it's harder than a wheelie, probably a little harder than a bar spin. It's just its own class of difficulty because it's like a core balance trick. It's the building block for a whole bunch of nose tricks. So you start with a hang five, and then you can learn pro fives, and then hang nothings and hang tens. It's just a really key starting point for all of your nose balance activities. It's an overall really aesthetic trick that I really enjoy doing. It's definitely one that catches people's eye. In terms of what you're gonna need, you can hang five any bike you want. I would love to see it, by all means. It makes me ecstatic. But you can hang five the Fixie freestyle bike the most easily. You can also hang five a trick track bike or a track bike with a micro peg. I've done that a couple times myself. I think it's more difficult than learning on the Fixie freestyle bike. Pegs, you don't need two. I have two in this case, but you can do it with one.
Want to do a quick shout out to RUFF Bike Co. If you're looking for fixed gear freestyle parts, they've got you covered. They just recently did a frame and fork drop, which unfortunately is sold out now. Hopefully they've got more coming soon. At the time of this recording though, they do have a couple pairs of the GC bars available, 4-piece bars, super sturdy. I've been running them for years. Check them out. Shout out RUFF Bike Co. Back to the video.
I highly recommend a helmet just for your own good, your own safety. I've spent, tons and tons of hours practicing. So for some of this tutorial, I didn't wear a helmet. Normally I do wear a helmet. Protect your noggin, you need that later. Unfortunately, I can promise you're gonna fall a few times, at least. But I'll give you the tips that I have to hopefully make it a less traumatic learning experience. First and foremost, you need to know which foot is your dominant cycling foot. If you're right foot forward, typically you're gonna put your right foot on that front side peg. Right foot, right peg. For me, it's my left foot that is dominant, and so I step off onto my left side peg. You're gonna need medium speed. If you go too slow, it becomes really difficult to maintain the balance. In the order of operations, it's my left foot is pedaling forward, I take it off, step on the peg, and quickly that right foot follows up and I push off of that. That gives me pedal pressure to lean forward. As soon as I'm leaning forward, I let the seat kind of smack me in the behind, and that's my guide to stay right balanced where I need to be. My right foot pushes back with that pedal pressure and then starts hanging off to the side to be a counterweight and help me maintain that point of balance. Once you have gotten pretty comfortable popping into the hang five, there's gonna be some battles to maintain that perfect balance point. It's pretty steep. It feels very uncomfortable for the first little while. About half my weight is on the peg and a little bit of weight is on the seat. And then the rest of my weight is centered up directly over the frame. That's kind of like a straight axis. That's where your weight stays, you know what I mean? It's a very small range for error. Your arms aren't locked out when you do this, by the way. They're kind of bent so that you can adjust your upper body and keep your balance point. Additionally, your hanging foot is going to be a really important counterweight and the main thing that keeps you from going over the bars or from falling back down onto your seat. This is imperative. Key note, bailing from the hang five is not always easy. If you're comfortable bailing, you're comfortable committing fully to the trick. The ability to bail is so valuable. It's such a keen aspect to being comfortable learning this trick. I would say that the first bails that you'll have with a hang five, you'll probably fall a little bit. You might get hung up in the bars or smack your knees or shins on the bars. There are techniques to save you while you're bailing. If you're going over the bars, pitch your bars at a 90 degree, you're able to step directly over. Otherwise, if they stay perpendicular, you can get caught up and get hung up on your knees or shins or whatever it may be. We've got to keep ourselves safe. We can always get another bike, can't get another you. You know how it is. Be careful, learn how to bail. That's a really keen aspect. Getting out of the hang five is pretty straightforward. Once you're coming to the end of your hang five, take that pressure off the front wheel and you hop back to pedals. Ideally, you'll catch pedals with your feet and you can just know where they are after you do it so many times. There will probably be instances where you land on seat or you land on your back tire. Hang fives can get really wild. So be ready to turf it a couple times, but I promise it'll be worth your while. One of the easier things I like to do is go to like a flat, empty parking lot, choose one line, and I start the hang five at that particular spot every single time. You can measure the distance that you're going by parking lot stalls. It's a really easy way to document your progress and to feel accomplished when it's like, yo, that was like 4 in a row or like 5 or whatever it is, you know. Tips and tricks. Learning this trick going too slow is so challenging. It makes it so your balance has to be that much better. So when I'm doing the hang five on a 26, it's much more difficult for me to actually reach the ground. So that's why my tip is to find somewhere where you can sit in the hang five and drag your hanging foot along the edge of something. I do it over on this ledge at the skate park. That was how I initially learned how to do this trick, just by, walking along this ledge, dragging my foot, and then pushing off the end. And being familiar with all those feelings is going to help you eventually, become a hang five warlord like myself. Pro tip, if you have any old parts laying around your garage, you should try to get a fork and a front wheel with a peg mounted on that fork, and then you get some handlebars on there. And I call that the hang five machine because it's one of the easier ways to practice hitting the balance point and so much less repercussion involved with it. There's not a frame between your legs. There's not a bunch of weight right behind you that you're trying to balance also. The con is that it is a little bit more squirrely. The distribution of how you're balancing will be just a little bit different. You can jump off way more easily and maintain that control so that when you do move to the actual hang five attempt on your bike, it doesn't feel totally alien and strange. It's gonna feel fairly familiar because of that thing we practiced on. Chase Davis, Skirt Reynolds, saying goodbye to you from FOAD Gang. If you have questions, I love to answer questions. I love to see comments of people that are, they have concerns or they want to know like specifics about stuff. Let me know if I missed something. I just appreciate your time and thanks for watching. Go learn to hang five. Be safe.